What's good, everyone? Welcome back for another session and showcase. As always, I do appreciate each and every one of you guys checking out each and every one of my videos, so certainly appreciate you checking out today's video. This one, I did talk about this before, but I did want to show off the 100% potential Super Saiyan 3 Bardock with max level links. This is of course, the version that awakens starting off from the SR version of Super Saiyan Bardock, but funny story is, for whatever reason, this is actually one of my oldest units in my deck, and for whatever reason, I just continued to, keep the SR version and raise the SA level whenever I pulled the unit, and that, come to find out, was a very good thing, because when not the EZA, but the Dokkan Awakening was announced for this guy, I was, extremely happy about, hindsight decisions being very correct, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, that's a little bit color as to my experience with the card, but let's just go ahead and dive right into it and talk about the unit itself. If you think the Dokkan Fest version of Super Saiyan 3 Bardock needs an EZA badly, then I don't know what to tell you about this guy, because he is certainly severely outdated in today's meta Dokkan battle. So with that being said, for this unit, again, this is the Super AGL Super Saiyan 3 Bardock. Leader skill Super Saiyan 3 category, AGL intelligence and physical type key +2, HP attack and defense increase of 40%. Super attack will cause supreme damage to enemy and lowers defense. Passive skill is attack increase of 80% when performing a super attack. However, defense will also increase by 80%, but only for 5 turns from the start of battle. So with that being said, I did kind of go into the boss rush setting instead of infinite Dragon Ball history, because this guy will certainly lose a lot of the defensive buff after 5 turns from the start of turn. So alright, let's move on and talk about the link sets. Saiyan Warrior Race at level 10 is attack increase 10%. Super Saiyan is attack increase of 15%. Experienced Fighters is attack increase of 15%. Over in a Flash is key +3, attack increase of 7%. Prepare for Battles key +2, attack and defense increase of 5%. Fierce Battle is also attack increase of 20%, and then Limit Breaking Form is attack increase of 10% when performing a super attack. So a lot of attack boosting link sets, and you will see more and more of an advantage once you go through the link leveling process. Not that I necessarily recommend you go through the link leveling grind for this particular unit, but you do see a pretty big difference in between level 1 and level 10. In terms of categories for this unit, it is quite abundant, and it's just unfortunate because this guy, once he gets some sort of upgrade, this could be somewhat of a good option for these categories like Super Saiyan 3, Resurrected Warriors, Pure Saiyans, Time Travelers, Goku's Family, Revenge, Crossover, Power of Revival, and Warriors of Legend. At 100% potential for this unit, you're looking at the following stats. HP is 13,116, attack is 11,664, and defense is 8,875. 12 key multiplier is 135% for this unit. And just to indicate how old this unit actually is, release date on JP for this guy was November 30th of 2017. On the global side, it was June 4th of 2018. So it's already been several years. And whenever I do these showcases on some of the older units, it does really kind of put it in perspective how much time actually passes with, each passing year. It just seems like each year just passes progressively faster, and maybe that's because I'm getting older. I don't know, but with that being said, I mean, it's quite overdue for this guy to get some sort of upgrade to be a little bit more, relevant, I guess, in today's age. Not that he's performing too terribly, but you gotta understand, I am loading up this guy with support units on the rotation, whether that's a 30% increase from the Super Saiyan 3 GT Great Ape Goku, or the Super Saiyan 3 Bardock, the Dokkan Fest version. Obviously, you can't link them together, but you can still take advantage of that 40% increase to attack for super types when HP is 70% or less from the Bardock unit. So a lot of working pieces here, but I think overall, I did kind of have fun running through this. Again, this is one of my oldest units in my deck, so of course I had to show love to this guy, and overall I think he pretty much expected to what I was pretty much seeing as happening, right? Somewhere along the lines of 1.3 to 1.5 million attack stats on a regular basis with support. That's kind of what I was looking at. I think previously to the link level grind to level 10, he might have been hitting for about, I don't know, maybe right around the 800k mark, maybe on average about 700k. So that kind of does put it in perspective that this guy did improve a little bit in terms of like the overall stat increases and whatnot. So, you know, at the end of the day, it does make a difference going through the link leveling process and testing out units versus, you know, level 1 versus level 10. So a lot of these showcases that I go through, I do try to pick out units that's not as heavily covered or people aren't talking about as much. Of course, this version of Bardock, I haven't really heard many people talk about it in quite some time. So, you know, just really trying to bring units like that back into light and see if they're somewhat a little bit more relevant, you know, with the link level process. But overall, again, time and time again, I say this, but you know, the link leveling process is logistically a real pain. But the concept itself and the end result you get from it, I think is severely, I wouldn't say underrated, but it's underappreciated to some degree. I mean, I really do love the link level system they rolled out. You know, from a final state standpoint, the whole level 10 setup, and you know, the units having the ability, instead of a flat increase of 100 toward attack or whatever, it's now a percentage base. So some of the weaker, older units, they really did benefit from this. So I think it's a great thing, and it's honestly made my grinding a little bit more enjoyable, because I ultimately have an objective outside of just purely grinding rank, you know. So it's to me, it's a lot of fun, and I don't necessarily mind going through the process of link leveling some of these units. And you know, some people have given me hell for link leveling, for example, the Strength Type Super Saiyan 2 Trunks, which I'm on uploading a showcase on this channel coming up pretty soon. I've already got the recordings and all that, so I just simply have to edit and layering my commentary and you know, just insight as to the unit. But it'll come along pretty soon. But the point being, you know, that unit has still yet to Dokkan Awaken, so it's missing that last link, you know what I'm saying? But I went ahead and did it, and people were just calling me out for being a moron about doing it. But the way I look at it, I mean, I've taken care of all the other links, so, you know, more or less when it actually does happen, which I wanted to happen, and I certainly wouldn't mind it happening, even though I have to, you know, regrind that one link. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's only one link to worry about versus like the rest of the 6 or whatever that I already completed. So that's really the gist of it. In terms of like the Super Saiyan 3 Bardock that's being showcased here, I mean, obviously just get rid of the 5-turn restrictions. It's almost like, you know, an outdated meta from back in the day where, for example, I think the best example of this topic would be the Strength Type Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Not that long ago, that guy was one of the best defensive units in the game, right? The problem with that is, you know, they did extend the amount of total turns for that unit with the EZA or whatever, but at the same time, like, you know, battles do go on past turn 7 or 10. And if you're going to lose the defensive advantage of bringing a unit like that and have to worry about some of the defensive liabilities that come with it, you know, it certainly changes the dialogue of how to go about building teams. So it's almost funny because at one point, you know, the turn limits were kind of a thing, and it just doesn't seem to be the case anymore. You know, I think the only relevance that has right now is based on, like, you know, active skill conditions or transformations or whatever, you know, and not necessarily tied to like attack and defensive stat, you know, increase. So as far as like a potential EZA for this unit, and I guess for this guy, he would first have to get a TUR because he's still at max level 100. So, you know, with that, this guy's potentially going to get a level 120 TUR and then an EZA. But, you know, certain things, a lot of things can potentially happen with this unit. I would say at the very least get rid of the 5-turn restriction with the defense increase of 80%, and, you know, just boost it up a little bit, maybe tack on a couple of other skill sets within the passive, and this guy should be fine. You know, it's pretty straightforward stuff and not overly complicated to come up with the, you know, the boosting for this unit. I don't know, maybe like something like transforming Bardock, which, you know, is an extra boost against wicked bloodline enemies, but I don't I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of category-specific passive restrictions, but if it had to come down to it, I'd be fine with it, honestly. Any sort of upgrade for this guy would be a welcome thing, to be honest with you. So that's where I stand with all this stuff. And I think a lot of, I'll close out by saying I think a lot of the reasonings as to why I go through link leveling some of these outdated units that are, well outside the limelight is deep down inside I have some hope that these guys will Dokkan Awaken and become, somewhat of a beast and sort of relevant in today's like meta of Dokkan. So that's what I keep dreaming of, and hopefully it'll happen sooner than later. But